RoboCop was the very first R-rated movie I ever saw. And if there's a movie that should be anyone's first R, it needs to be this one. Not only does it have unapologetically violent action, but it's an all-around good film with commentary on crime, corruption, and humanity. If you haven't seen it yet, you're missing out. And you should go see it because I will be making reference to it in this review. RoboCop became so popular it spawned a couple of sequels that are kind of a mixed bag, a TV show and a miniseries that I think I'm the only one who remembers existed. Then we got the remake that's coming out soon. The trailer certainly looks promising, but I can't shake the fact that it's got a PG-13 rating. Also, why the hell does he have an exposed hand? It looks stupid. And of course, there were a couple of cartoons. After all, despite the hard R rating, RoboCop was very popular with kids.
Excuse me, Robo, any special message for all the kids watching at home?
Stay out of trouble.
First up, we got RoboCop the Animated Series, created in 1988 by Marvel, believe it or not. It even had Stan Lee working on it. Nice! Essentially, it plays off the first movie, featuring a lot of main characters like RoboCop's partner Ann Lewis, head of the Detroit Police Department Sergeant Reed, the head of OCP, the Old Man. I like how he's only referred to as the Old Man, even in the movies. We get to meet Dr. McNamara, creator of the Enforcement Droids, or the Ed series. And we get to see more versions of them.
You have made an illegal turn. Halt.
Did you say something, honey?
I repeat, halt. Changing lanes without signaling is a violation. You are all illegally parked. Halt. Vehicles will be towed at owner's expense.
I see they're working as well as ever. We also see the return of Lieutenant Hedgecock, the leader of the SWAT team in the first movie. He was barely in it, but apparently someone liked him so much they decided to bring him into the animated series as a main antagonist. Also, they gave him Youngblood's disease. I like how his name sounds like an insult, which is appropriate because this guy is one of the biggest assholes I've ever seen. It's not enough he's resentful of RoboCop and generally just hates technology, but he goes out of his way to berate him and even tries to sabotage him.
RoboCop's the only pain I got. That titanium tinker toy butted into my operation and stole my arrest. You just want to make me look bad, you reckless robot.
What a hedgecock! There's even an episode where he gets a robot suit to fight him and injures Officer Lewis in the process. Why is he still on the force? The guy's clearly unstable! Unfortunately, they destroy the tape of the fight because it'd be bad for OCP if footage of RoboCop going ballistic on another officer got out, so they can't prosecute Hedgecock for nearly killing an officer.
Congratulations, Dr. Tyler. Your cybernetic supercop is indeed a sound investment.
Thank you, sir.
Now, as for that videotape.
Ah, yes. Tapes are such delicate things, so easily erased.
Why did you do that? We could have nailed Hedgecock to the wall with that tape.
We also could lose funding for the RoboCop project if that tape got out.
It's what's best for business. Prejudice against RoboCop seems to be a running theme. I thought he was very well liked, but apparently Hedgecock isn't the only technophobe in New Detroit. There are whole movements against technology. In one episode, there's even an anti-technology terrorist group called the Brotherhood that wear hoods. I wonder if they represent something. Hey, I should probably talk about RoboCop. Personality-wise, he's about on par with the movie, always upholding the law, following his prime directives, and bringing in the bad guys. And of course, they resist. They always resist.
Put down your weapons. You are under arrest.
You heard the man! Drop him!
Forget it, lady!
Mercy! Look out!
Let's nail a tin man!
Why don't they ever ever aim for the mouth? It's like his one exposed area. One of the great things about this show is how he's treated by the other characters. Of course, Hedgecock treats him like a threat, Sergeant Reed treats him like a cop, his handlers treat him like a science experiment, OCP treats him like a product, and Lewis still treats him like a person. How RoboCop was treated by those around him was one of the biggest strengths of the film, and it's translated very well into the cartoon.
Thank you.
I'm glad you accepted my invitation to dinner, Murphy. It's nice to hang loose once in a while.
I feel strange here.
You might look different than anyone else, but underneath all that metal, you're still a human being.
Am I?
I think he looks more handsome with his helmet on.
Handsome? Lisa, do you have a crush on RoboCop?
No. I believe that was a glitch.
Right, I'd buy that for $1. Another thing that carried over from the movie is, believe it or not, the violence. No, nobody got killed, and yes, they used lasers, but they actually got hit with them. Also, every episode seemed to involve RoboCop nearly getting killed. It gets pretty intense. Though sometimes it's just because he can't get to his chair to recharge. Yeah, apparently he can only recharge by sitting in his chair. That's kind of a big design flaw. He needs a retractable extension cord like on a vacuum cleaner. You know, in case of emergencies. Also, just like in the movie, the series had commentary on things like gang violence. And this particular episode had one of the most mean-spirited things I've ever heard in a cartoon.
Hey, Mr. All-American. How come you're sitting out this game?
Just leave me alone.
Aw, come on, Durkey Worky. Don't be so sensitive. Tom and I just came over to keep you company.
Yeah? Is this Be Kind to Invalids Week or something?
Nah, I just had a thing for guys with winning personalities and distinguished walks.
We're going to hell! Of course, I mentioned the undertones of prejudice that showed up in a few episodes, but probably the most offensive to me was the blatant environmental episode. Because when I think RoboCop, I think environmentalism. This was a pretty short series, but there were a few episodes worth noting. One episode had a slimy reporter guy following RoboCop around and making it look like he caused the damage created by criminals. Jeez, is everyone who wears a suit in New Detroit a corrupt prick? There's an episode about a Robin Hood themed villain who steals supplies from OCP to give to Detroit's needy. I'd say this is dumb, but it does have good commentary about how the poor are treated. The one thing I didn't like about this episode is that if you pay close attention, you can probably figure out how it's gonna end. Another episode was about a former OCP employee who breaks out of jail and actually hacks RoboCop to send him after the old man. That's right, RoboCop can be hacked. I guess they never thought to install an antivirus program onto his hard drives. By the way, this guy called the Scrambler looks an awful lot like Big Boss from Cops. He even has the same voice actor.
You'd better hurry then. By the end of the day, Omni Consumer Products will be out of business for good, and you'll be reduced to a distant memory.
Also, totally missed opportunity for an awesome crossover. The episode that I think the show peaks in weirdness was the one where a mutant genetic plant thing escapes from a lab and RoboCop has to stop it from absorbing electricity from a power plant. And he does so while having a cold. Yeah, apparently even though he doesn't have a lot of organics left, he can still get sick. And the best part is he's cured by chicken soup. Funny, I thought he just ate baby food.
How's my partner doing, Dr. Roosevelt?
He's A-okay, Lewis. Looks like your mom's chicken noodle soup did the trick.
It's never failed yet. Shoo!
Dr. Tyler!
It seems I caught a cold from Robo... Shoo!
Bless you.
Thank you, RoboCop. Shoo!
So before I mentioned that the series played off the movie, but is it canon with the movie? Well, that brings us to the final episode of the series. In this episode, we're introduced to some new characters that were supposed to coincide with the RoboCop action figures. I guess it never went anywhere, but that's not the part I'm interested in, because we also see the return of Clarence Boddicker. Anyone familiar with the movie knows Clarence Boddicker was the gang leader that shot up Officer Murphy, and not to spoil anything, but he does get killed off pretty unambiguously at the end of the movie. I don't know how or why they brought him back, but now this is officially not canon. RoboCop even takes him in alive.
No! Please!
Fun's over.
Murphy, don't! Murphy, you are a cop. No matter what he's done to you, don't let him make you a murderer.
You are under arrest. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law.
I call bullcrap! Well, that's RoboCop the animated series. It has some flaws, but considering it's a kids show based on an R-rated movie, it's actually not that bad. Unfortunately, only a few episodes were released on VHS, and the full series was never released on DVD in the United States. Hopefully the remake will renew some interest in it, but if you can find it, give it a watch. And now for my favorite moment from the show.
This ain't no game, Robo-Creep!
Murphy, don't worry about me. Stop them.
Try anything, and your partner eats track!
All right, you win.
We did it! Nobody can stop us! Nobody!
So long, suckers!
You have the right to remain silent.
Well, I'd end it there, but there's another RoboCop cartoon. RoboCop Alpha Commando. Good God.
Don't move, citizen. We'll be right back. Welcome back, citizens.
In 1998, a new RoboCop cartoon was released, RoboCop Alpha Commando. Would a new version of RoboCop be good 5 years after the third movie came out? Well, the intro certainly looks promising, but then the theme song kicks in.
RoboCop! RoboCop! RoboCop!
Wow, how long did it take him to come up with that?
RoboCop! RoboCop!
Let me guess, RoboCop? Okay, seriously, how could you be this lazy?
Just making it up as I went along, really.
That's just weak songwriting. You wrote a bad song, Petey.
And you will soon see that the theme song pretty much sums up the show. The series takes place in the year 2030. So after the events of Cops and before Kane Co. builds Detroit Deluxe over the ruins of old Detroit, which is currently New Detroit. By the way, that's another series RoboCop could have had a great crossover with. A federal intelligence group called Alpha Division are fighting the evil organization known as DARK, which is one of the greatest acronyms ever.
DARK, the Directorate for Anarchy, Revenge, and Chaos.
Okay, that is awesome. One of the few things I'm gonna praise this show for. They station Agent Nancy Miner in New Detroit to keep an eye on them, and they assign her a new partner. Yup, it's RoboCop, who's been kept in storage all this time. And here's where things go downhill. First of all, I know RoboCop is awesome and everything, but so far into the future, wouldn't he kind of be obsolete technology? Also, why was he just put into storage? And who put him into storage? In the end of RoboCop 3, OCP goes out of business, so who the hell was paying for all this? The guy looking after him is Dr. Newmeyer. Fun fact, Miner and Newmeyer were the writers of RoboCop. I'd say this is a neat little tribute, but it's happening in RoboCop Alpha Commando, so whatever. At this point, you can tell we won't be seeing much of anything recognizable from the series. No OCP, no Hedgecock, no Ed 209, no McNamara, nothing. Though they did briefly touch on what happened to Officer Lewis.
I'm sorry what I said about robots. I had a partner one time. He was killed by a robot.
I'm sorry. It's hard to lose your partner.
Oh my God! She was killed?!
I understand our mission now, Agent Minor. What is our next move?
Oh, no, never mind. We gotta get back to whatever uninspired thing we were doing. Now, Lewis was killed in RoboCop 3, but if you didn't see that movie, you'd be left wondering why they just passed over the death of an important character from the series. It's insulting. There is one character that does return, Sergeant Reed. Yes, this is supposed to be Sergeant Reed, and he's still working for the Detroit Police Department. At this point, I have to wonder exactly how much time has passed since RoboCop 1. It's never made clear what time period the movie takes place in. I've heard it's supposed to be the late 90s, but I couldn't find much to confirm that. Assuming it's correct, then at least 30 years have passed. Reed should be in his 60s, but this is just nitpicking compared to the real problems with this show. Like the accessories. Yeah, they gave RoboCop accessories, like a bolo whip, a glue gun, and... is he on roller skates? They put him on roller skates? I'm sorry, am I watching RoboCop or Inspector Gadget? I might as well be, because he's got a ton of these things. Some I don't really mind, like the grappling hook and the fire extinguisher. Those would have been useful in a few situations. The rest of them are just stupid. Every time he uses one, it just leaves me dumbfounded, and all I can say is, what?
RoboFlip. I installed seatbelts, right?
What?
Grinder.
He has an ice crusher? Does he also dispense frozen drinks? He has retractable armor. Kind of redundant since he's already armored. Oh, here's my favorite. He has a golf ball cannon. When would he ever need that? As if that wasn't dumb enough, they also make the characters say things. I think they're trying to be funny, but I'm just not feeling it for some reason.
Try this.
You put your right leg in, you put your right leg out, then you shake it all about.
Great. Now I'm gonna have that song stuck in my head all day.
I miss puns.
Activating glue gun.
At least I haven't become unglued. Hello, dispatch. Officers need assistance.
What's the problem?
They're a little stuck up.
On second thought, no I don't.
Hello, Dr. Newmeyer. Who's the babe?
Yeah, that's totally something RoboCop would say. Not many recurring villains either, and they're all a nightmare of 90s character design. There was one that looked like Wolverine, and another that was a cybernetically enhanced deranged parking enforcer.
Herman Wonk, badge 319, fired 6 months ago for attitude problems when he gave out tickets. He liked it too much.
I gotta admit, that's kind of funny. There was one thing I kind of liked about this show. Agent Minor is a single mom.
That's why I want you to leave immediately for New Detroit.
Sir, I'll have to make some calls.
I've already arranged for someone to look after your son.
Thank you, sir.
It would have been a really good angle if the show was about RoboCop finding a new family, since pretty much everyone he knew was gone. But it's only implied and never really explored upon. It's made worse when we actually meet her ex-husband and find out that he's kind of awesome.
You're Matt's father?
You know my son?
Nancy Minor and I worked together for Division Alpha. I knew she was the Force, but not this.
She doesn't know. I work deep cover for the Department of Weapons. She thinks I sell staplers.
Speaking of which, we actually meet his family. That is, the wife and son of Officer Alex Murphy. There are so many things wrong with this. First of all, they act like they don't know who he is. In RoboCop 2, she does meet him and finds out that he was her husband, and in the Prime Directives miniseries, it was established that she actually died. The RoboCop series doesn't seem to be known for good continuity. And again, this is the future. Shouldn't they be a lot older? His son doesn't look much older than he did from the first movie. Did they seriously not think about that when they made this show? The episode that really pisses me off is the one where some geneticist clones him back into Alex Murphy's body. But of course, she's evil. The clone slowly deteriorates while she hijacks the RoboCop body for crime. They do manage to get him back, and I have to admit, seeing the body disintegrate is kind of disturbing.
Let him go, Murphy. He's not you.
He used to be.
But it's what he says afterwards that bothers me.
What are you thinking about?
I should have seen Dr. Gaia's offer for what it was. I should have realized that Murphy is gone.
Murphy isn't gone! RoboCop has always had a human side. It's a pivotal part of his character. It was an important theme throughout the RoboCop series.
If OCP just wanted a robot, why the hell did they put Murphy in there in the first place?
Murphy's dead, sweetheart. That's on record.
Mr. Fleck, this is Murphy. What's left of his face, portions of the cerebrum, the cerebellum, it's human tissue that's still alive.
How bad is that when I have to reference RoboCop 3 to make a point? You know what the worst part is? The animated series only had 12 episodes. Do you know how many Alpha Commando had? 40! This crap went on for 40 episodes! I am not subjecting myself to any more of this. This show was just a waste of time. It felt like some unrelated cyberpunk show that they just wedged RoboCop into. If it was its own thing, it might have been passable, but it just ended up being an uninspired mess, lacking in any thought or humanity. And wasn't that one of the themes of RoboCop? Humanity? Murdering the shit out of bad guys, but mostly humanity. So in conclusion, absolutely see the original movie. Check out the animated series if you can. And as for Alpha Commando, just don't even bother. And let us take solace in the fact that no matter how bad the remake might be, it'll never be this bad.
Humiliating me will get you nowhere.
So those are the RoboCop cartoons. Well, the holidays are upon us. Time for me to review another Christmas special. Which one? Well, let's just say, for those of you that miss all the great shows that Cartoon Network put by the wayside over the years, consider my next video my Christmas gift to you.
I'd buy that for $1.
Why is that so funny?